Hello to everyone tuning into our first ever Mom's Talk Shop mom panel discussing a very important topic that I know everybody is discussing at home, and probably it's just like as I'm talking about it right now, I'm already thinking about it. So here we go. This is the mom panel discussing going back to school. I have, yes. Woo! Oh my God. So
wish they were going back to school.
Yeah, please. So what we've done here is we've put together an incredible group of women showcasing a different, diverse background and or situation that I felt that would be great to bring into this conversation. And why don't we just get going so we can meet all of these amazing panelists and they can share more about who they are, their kids, and let's dive into it. Let's just do it. All right, so Nikki, take it away.
I'm Nikki. Okay, I have two kids. One is in preschool and she is 3 years old. I also have a 5-year-old that is about to start private school virtually.
Are you a working mom?
I am not a working mom.
And do you have any help right now?
I feel like I'm working all the time. I do not have any help right now. I would love to have some help right now, but it's just me, myself, and I, and my husband when he can jump in. And it's been a real challenge. So
good job, Nikki. Awesome. Sarah.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah. I live up in Northern California in San Jose. I have two kiddos, a 5th grader who is 10, a 3rd grader who is 8. They are in public school. My oldest has high functioning autism and my youngest has some learning challenges, anxiety stuff that we both kids on IEPs. Did I say public school? And I'm a full-time working mom in sales. And I do have help Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And it's been very, it's essential. I can't work without them. But then my husband takes a full day Thursday and I take a full day Friday with schooling. So my kids have been in about a week.
Amazing. Awesome, Sarah. I love you. And
love you.
We have Haylie.
Hi, everybody. My name is Haylie. I have 2 daughters. One of them is preschool age. She's just turned 2, would be starting preschool. And then my first one, I guess, is also a little girl, and she just started kindergarten. She goes to public school. We live in Los Angeles area. I am a working mom. I'm trying to check all the boxes in my head. I am a working mom. I am lucky that I get to work from home a lot before this happened. So this was not like the craziest transition for me. And I do have help. She just came back and started with us about a month ago.
All right, Lindsay, take it away.
Hi, sorry, I'm still trying to figure out if my kid's supposed to log back into a Zoom right now or not. I'm Lindsay. I'm down in Los Angeles. I have 2 boys. I have a 5-year-old who just started kindergarten today and a 7-year-old who just started 2nd grade today. Today was our first day. We are currently still wrapping up first Zooms. It was a little crazy, but we made it through. My kindergartner, thank God, was so happy and excited. So that was like a good sort of relief, you know. I am not working outside the home at the moment, but like Nikki, I do everything therefore at home. I have like 27 million jobs, it feels like, all at once. We have no help. It's all me. I'm everything. My husband is currently in the midst of starting a business. So he's home, but he's not helpful at all. So it is me, myself, and I, and my 2 kids, and we are making it through. I'd love to have help. I miss my help terribly, but
always love your energy, like all the time. And all right, Jen.
Hi, I'm Jen. I am a mother of 3. I have one little boy. His name is Jack. And he's 4 years old and he is in preschool. And we also are doing home tutoring too. I have 2 newborns. They're 3 months, identical girls, Isabella and Charlotte. They were born in May. They are obviously not in school. I am a working mom of 2 careers. My husband is the full-time mom, which is fantastic. We are losing our mother-in-law after 3 months this weekend. Very sad that I cannot have my nanny. I want one. We have one. He will not allow her back. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome, Jen. Thank you. And Radhika?
Hi, I'm Radhika. I have 2 boys. They're 4 and 5. My older one will be starting private preschool in like a week and a half. And now we're putting him in private. And my 4-year-old is in preschool, but he's not in preschool. And I am a full-time mom, and we do not have any help, and it's horrible. And we are in Studio City.
You guys did great. This is a great intro. And, just to give a little bit about myself, my name is Lisa. I am a single mother of almost 3-year-old twins, boy and girl, Finn and Zoe. I'm out here in Los Angeles. They are both in preschool, and they are going to a private preschool. I am a working mom. I have my own business, and I don't have any help. I have a village of people that I depend on and try to work within this whole COVID situation, but I am most of the time just rocking and shaking on my own here, and very blessed to have some good people around that do come to help out when I need them. And all right, okay, so that's me. This is great, awesome intro from everybody. Jen, talk to us about your situation.
Well, as similar to everybody else, I think a lot of us have the same age group. My son dealing with twins hasn't been easy because it's a major transition. So very emotional, acting out, I have to monitor him around the twins because he kind of pokes at them and is a little rough with them. Although he's trying to transition, it's hard to understand. So it's a big change. It's also a big change because he went from, my son was in 2 schools. I know that sounds really strange, but being a preschooler, he was in a play-based school and then an academic school. Why did I do that? I think because one was highly play-based in Studio City, and one was just very much like your traditional classroom. So to go from 2 classes or 2 schools to 2 twins, pandemic, locked in, I honestly have to say, hearing all of your guys' stories has been awesome and honestly helpful. But this has been so emotional. I'm gonna try not to cry, but massively emotional. He's gotten angrier, more frustrated. I've seen more changes in my 4-year-old than I've ever seen. And things I've actually, as a mother and my husband and I, tried to prevent, exactly like what you said, no screen time, limiting the phone as much as you could. And now it's just like, all he's doing is either ABC Mouse or doing his private tutorial sessions. And it's just hard. So we too made the decision, and it just started about a week ago. My son was in a private preschool before March, and then they stopped. And then they were doing they had a great program where it was like pickup and virtual in around May and June. And because this is a private school and it's very, very, very controlled, they went ahead and opened up to morning, afternoon, and then late afternoon. And they separate the head count to about 3 to 4. The teachers are tested weekly. They ask if parents in their professions travel to get tested. They do temperature checks at the door. They do wipe down of shoes, hands, and lunch pails when they come in. So I feel good about it, and I feel better that Jack's there now, and it's 4 times a week from 1 to 4. And it's all outside. There's an interior, but the school is outside. So everything is play-based and it's with nature. So I feel good with that. But we definitely are, scared because we have 2 infants, and those infants have no immune system. So we run a huge risk with this. But again, one of you said there's a moment where you have to take into consideration, you pick your battles, right? Do you give them your phone at the dinner table? Do you pick your battles? I can't continue seeing him in the house in ragement. So having him outside at school is essential for me. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Can I chime in about your son, like starting to act out and things like that?
Please.
I noticed certain things. My daughter, Ryan, my older daughter, is like very even keeled. She's very, a kid is mean to her and she kind of like she's very easygoing. She is very like sweet and whatever. And I saw during the really severe lockdown, I saw her like be weepy all the time. I saw like signs of a little bit of a stutter starting to happen. I think we don't realize all the stress that we feel
Yeah.
from this, from even the chatter that we think they don't hear in the house.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Absorbing into them, and it all is going to show itself in so many different ways, whether it's a child that starts picking their fingers or, they internalize it, but they don't know how to vocalize it.
Yep.
So I would just say that I don't think that you should worry about it. I think like as things mellow out, he's going to just kind of fall back into
I hope so.
this
That's
thing
great
too.
I love all this momagy or mom.
So do I. You're all making me cry.
I know. I was like crying for you, Jen, and we'll probably talk offline after this because I'll be crying with you.
By the way, when you bring a new baby home, you just cry all the time anyway.
Yeah.
Dude, they're legit crying. It's like, it's crazy.
Like you cry all the time anyway.
I'm still wearing the bras. I'm still wearing the maternity clothes.
Yeah, all the hormones you must have going right now, forget it. All those hormones, man.
I know, it's crazy.
Those
I have my AC always on, even when it's like totally normal. I just always feel like I'm hot. I'm always sweating. Sarah, I would love for you to sort of share a bit more with your situation, knowing that, you do have a son that does have special needs who I love to death and is just, total stud. And, but I'd love to know sort of your first initial, let's say, concerns just about this whole situation.
Well, gosh, when it was first starting, I had not worked for 6 years. So I was a full-time stay-at-home mom, loving my life gloriously. And then I decided it's probably time for me to go back to work. So this was my first, and I totally changed careers. So I was in the middle of just like finally catching my momentum, finally understanding what the hell my job was, feeling really good. And then COVID happened, right? And so everybody in the whole world were in lockdown, full-time online schooling. And just to be honest, it was chaos. I mean, it was tears, tears, not my children. They loved it. I'm crying every day, just overwhelmed, like as we all feel, right? Like no one feels they're doing a good enough job. Women, typically, we have to go above and beyond to think we are nailing it. And that was kind of the experience last time. Now, as like summer came, I had an in-home nanny so I could work, and the kids had a great summer. But as approaching the school year and knowing it was going to be full on online learning, I had hoped that the teachers and everybody would have figured it out and it was going to be pretty systematic and really good. But I was cautiously optimistic. It's day 5 over here. It's going well. I think what I have to accept, and most parents have to accept with school-age children, whether they're typical or have special needs like my kids do, they're not going to get maximized education. They're just not. And that's okay. I guess that's my biggest message. I worry myself sick with my son, especially just not getting the support he needs, the education he needs, not people treating him like any other kiddo and kind of dumbing things down for him. Although he's really intelligent, as a lot of kids with autism are. It's a really weird dichotomy, but that's what I know a lot of parents are worried about. And I'm here to tell you, even if they have a crappy year where the teacher isn't the best, or they're gonna be okay. And my advice would be, is you have to fill in the gaps after school if you can. And it's just gonna be a rough 9 months, not a year. That's what I make sure I keep saying too. It's not a year, it's only 9 months. And all of us mommies know how fast does a month go by? Holy shit, we're like, woo, you know? So I'm trying to have that attitude towards this time around.
That's great. That's great advice. I applaud you for the amount of patience, and just, again, you do what you need to do to just know what you need for your kids. And I think we all do that for our kids, is we just have to understand who they are, their personalities, and just know what we can all do for them. And I love that. All right, Haylie, talk to me about what you've been thinking about since the beginning of this and then in preparation.
I think I have felt all the same feelings that both of you guys just mentioned: the fear, the happiness to get extra time home with my kids before they go off to school. That was a big thing that was kind of weighing on my heart, that Ryan was going off to kindergarten. And I was feeling like, we can't skip school whenever we want. Like, I was kind of losing her to big kids school where, I wouldn't get the same kind of time with her. So that was something I had expressed to Matt before this happened. And then he said, well, look, there you go. You got all the time that you wanted. But I had a feeling when COVID started that we would not be starting school and in the traditional way. And so I quickly found parents that were going to be in our new school that felt the same way I did, which was, even if schools maybe were to open, would we still be choosing remote learning as the safest way for our child to continue her education? And so we started our pod on Monday. I'm hosting 6 kids at my house in our garage. We have very strict rules about our pod. We signed liability waivers, paperwork, like we did the whole thing. And so far it's been pretty awesome. We have a teacher that's coming and doing the Zoom classes with them. And to be honest with you, my experience with LAUSD and the public school system has been pretty amazing. I feel like they really are aware of the amount of time a child in kindergarten can actually spend in front of a screen, which is not a lot. I mean, they can watch cartoons all day long, but they can't watch a classroom.
Right.
I can barely get her to sit there for the 45 minutes. She does 2 classes a day. One of them is about 40 minutes in the morning and then another 40 minutes in the afternoon. And that is like the max. Like, that's the most I can get her to sit there and look at a screen of kids she doesn't know, teachers she doesn't know. It's just a really difficult way of learning. So for us, this pod system seems to be working out pretty well because they're getting the socialization, and then this teacher can kind of like fill in the extra learning that they're not really getting in between the virtual times.
Radhika, what about you? Talk to us.
My biggest fear in this whole thing is that the relationship that I worked so hard to develop with my older son specifically is going to be hindered by me trying to be his teacher at home. And
hard.
Like my biggest fear, because we're in such a great place. Like, we have a mutual respect for each other. We're like vibing. We are good to go right now. And I'm afraid the second we sit together in front of that computer, it is going to be not good. And that's like, I guess, my biggest fear, concern, worry. But other than that, I'm like, you know what? We got this. We're also still in kindergarten and preschool. For us, being back on campus learning kind of isn't an option. My husband has type 1 diabetes, so we've been super careful and we've had to quarantine pretty hard. So my kids, we have a little, very, very, very small three-person pod for my preschooler of families that we, are quarantining the same way. And that's really the only like exposure to other kids that my kids have gotten. And none of them are the age of my older kid, which makes me sad for him. So I'm hoping that we're going to be able to start signing up for like some tennis, some outdoor sports. And to me, and I think my husband feels the same way, the only things that feel worth it to do to expose us and our family, and my husband specifically, to this virus are things that would benefit my kids.
Nikki, as far as just, it'd be great to hear from you to talk about how you feel about, both schools, and maybe a comparison of just the communication and the efforts you have to do as a parent with the other parents.
I have to be honest, I've really struggled, especially in the last few weeks. My husband and I made the decision to send our youngest back to preschool when preschool opened this summer, because she was really having some like emotional issues, and we just felt like the risk reward there was, it was risky and we were scared, but at the same time, like, she was so miserable that we thought sending her back would be like this wonderful idea, and it was. That being said, the preschool did, I think the best job that they could, given the circumstances they were given. I felt comfortable in the sense that most of the families that were coming back, and there were so few families at the time, I knew were being very careful, and it made me feel comfortable. I mean, I went to the grocery store for the first time since February 20th, yesterday. So to let you know, like, we've been careful, but our point of exposure was sending our youngest back to preschool. And then the preschool said, hey, listen, you're already sending the youngest one. The older one's going to start private school, but you don't know how that's going to look. If you want, they offered to let her go just for the summer. And I thought, might as well, if I'm sending one, I might as well send the other one. And I did. And I'm really glad I did, because our private school that starts kindergarten next week is not opening in person. It's going to be virtual. And I realized when we were doing the online learning the last few months through the preschool, and my kid would cry and refuse to participate with people she loved and friends she knew and teachers she knew, I thought to myself, if I can't force her to do that, she's not going to do kindergarten, And so it's going to be what it's going to be.
So, Sarah, why don't you tell us a little bit just in regards to the communication, the setup that you have to have.
And with the school, the school's done a good job. I'm in a pretty small district up here in San Jose. I think they've done a really, really good job. I think the teachers are so much more prepared. And then I think there's become a lot of resources, and stuff like this happens, right? Like a lot of ingenuity happens. So things have adjusted. Zoom has added, cool features to do like breakout groups. And there's other websites we're using that's like a hub for all of their websites. So it's becoming a lot more functional for the kids. Now, I have older kids, Nolan's almost in junior high.
Wow.
So So
big difference.
It's
That's
challenging.
Real learning time.
Well, yeah, this is like, that's what I said to people a lot. Like, she's in third, he's in fifth. And it's like, it actually does matter what happens this year, especially for him with deficits already. But the good news is, he does do pretty well with online learning. A lot of kids on the spectrum, I think, are doing well with this because there's less distractions and it's more organized. But, of course, I worry about the social loss of not being with his peers in person.
I have two thoughts, but I always have a thought about everything.
I love it. Go for it.
One is kind of touching on something that you said, Sarah, and I can't remember now, it was a while ago. But it has to do with, are we raising a generation of kids that won't know how to interact with other kids at a certain point? I have some friends who gave birth to babies in quarantine. Our kindergartners that are, all the socialization time is so important for them. Like, and they're not doing it. They're seeing friends like through FaceTime and Zoom and things like that. You know, that's one thing that kind of weighs on me is like, I think about what this does to them by the time they are into middle school and high school. And even beyond that is like our society now, like when you date, you meet on an app, like you meet online. And it's like, is this perpetuating even more of that when we probably should really be focusing on teaching our kids how to walk up to someone and say, hi, do you want to play? Or hi, do you want to be my friend? You know, is that like just completely gone out the window now?
I actually think there's maybe a little bit of the opposite effect is happening, Haylie, because I think before this pandemic, even that was the tendency for children, right? Like junior high kids, I'd walk by Starbucks, no one's talking to each other. They're all on their phones. And this has created an environment where they are desperate to see their friends. So maybe there is I'm very silver lining, but maybe there is a silver lining because now I see kids, which they shouldn't be, but they're in like packs of 10 on bikes. Where are they riding their bikes to? I don't know. I've never seen junior high kids on bikes in my life, but there's like a desperation.
Even people that live in my neighborhood that normally when we're on walks, we would just walk past each other. Now everyone's kind of like, hey, how are you?
Hey. Totally. I think it's almost maybe created the opposite, hopefully, where they're just like, yeah, remember when there was a pandemic and we couldn't see anybody? That was shitty. And I love my friends and I want to see my friends. I hope that's what happens, but I agree.
That's a very good point. I agree with that.
Let's just all leave on a positive note. If we could give everybody something that they can take away, let's just go through that. And Radhika, you go first on this one.
No pressure.
No pressure. I don't know that I have like a specific example or time when I struggled and I overcame it, because I'll be honest, like my pandemic personality is very up and down. Like I'm crushing it. I feel real good. I'm like high-fiving myself past the mirror. And then there's days when I'm like literally hysterically crying. Like I feel so lonely. I feel so trapped and desperate. And I'm like desperate for somebody to just help me come clean my house or help me take care of these kids, or it's so much. But what I have realized is that I am very capable, and it is a very empowering feeling to feel very capable. And if you had asked me 6 or 7 months ago if I could not have a housekeeper, not have a nanny, not be able to go to the groceries, like do all of the things that we're doing and be able to sit with my kids and do Zooms and everybody's happy and in fact thriving, I would have said there is no chance in hell. And here we are, and we're kind of crushing it in, for the most part. And so it's nice to feel capable, and it's empowering. So I just would encourage all the moms to lean into that and really give yourself credit, and the dads and everybody who's surviving and thriving during this, school or no school. So yeah, that's I
love that. That's awesome. I'm like so stoked. I'm like crying with everyone. Right. By the end of this, I'm gonna be like hysterically bawling, like, yes, Lisa, you can do this.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay.
What about you, Haylie?
Oh, me? Okay. As I was listening to Radhika, a few things came to mind. The first being, I'm very proud of myself in the technology of it all. And Lisa, you and I talked a little about this, but getting your kids set up, and I don't know what the program or whatever it is that you use in the private schools, but in public school, you use something called Schoology and Seesaw, and they were incredibly complicated to figure out how to log into, to make parent portals and things like that. So, so like that is my mini accomplishment on getting through that, because now we're like in a flow and I totally get it. And then the second thing that comes to mind is my relationship. And I feel like this has been a really positive thing for my relationship, because I realized that when you have 2 young kids at home so many times, and Nikki, you're pretty good about making date nights, but we weren't. I spent a lot of time away from Matt because one of us would stay home and then the other one would go out and have dinner with friends or whatever. And so the emphasis on us being together like this has been like killer for our relationship. It's been so good.
Yeah.
And I think that's something I'm really grateful for, you know, because I was worried about that. I was like, you and me all day long. But it's really good. So
That's
I think
another. We'll have that as another discussion.
Yes, that's another good one.
Woo! Okay. Okay. I mean, I love that. Yeah, Haylie. I'm like, we talked about that yesterday too. I think it's just awesome. Those are such good points.
I don't need to go into the detail we went into yesterday. Okay.
Woo!
Nikki, you share with us some stuff too.
No, you know what? I was saying, I don't know if this has been necessarily great for my marriage. I think, no, I'm just kidding. I actually think this has been really great for my kids. Here's why. It's actually been horrible for all of us, but my husband travels 3 weeks out of the month generally, and he has for a really long time. We have a bunch of businesses and he does it all. And so unfortunately or fortunately, like, you know, he's always gone. And so the kids really miss that. And I was getting really frustrated before all this happened. And Lindsay and I have talked about this. Haylie and I have talked about this a lot. It was really frustrating for me that I felt like he was missing it all. And I was like, they're only little for so long. And then you're going to come home one day and they're going to be gone and they're not going to want to have anything to do with you. So it's been great in the sense that he's home. He's there when they wake up. He's there when they go to bed. He's around. He's working a ton, but he gets to see his kids and they get to see him. And that's like so important and so wonderful. And it makes me so happy when their little faces light up when he like does stuff with them, stuff that he normally wouldn't have been able to do because he's, you know, traveling the world or whatever. So
And what about you? What's a good takeaway for everybody?
Oh God. I think what I kind of constantly try to remind myself of to get through this is that it's only temporary. It's not going to be what?
Be the bear.
Be the bear. Be the bear. I'll get there. But like, it's only temporary. When I started school today, I was like, we just have to get to Christmas break, right? Like, and then we'll reevaluate at Christmas break and see where we are in the world then. But even if it's a bad day or a bad argument or a bad anything, it's all just temporary. And I have to kind of constantly remind myself of that because it's really easy to get into like the weight of it all. So that would be my sort of like advice.
Jen, talk to us. Just tell us a few things that just something that's out of this, like be the bear, you know?
I think all I've learned is I've spent my whole life working. My entire career has been working. It is a career to be a mom. I hear most of my best friends who have kids who had careers and who are now moms. I am impressed with the mom who just stays home and deals with the kid. I have such a profound respect for them. It is the hardest thing to do. I am a nurse practitioner. I own my own communications agency, 2 of the hardest jobs, and nothing is like being a mom. Being here full time, feeding, figuring it out, what for them to watch, laundry, all of it. So I applaud all of my moms. I love being a part of this. I want to continue to be a part of it. But it's taught me to be a better mom. If I didn't stay home and have this time, I don't think I would have ever. And I think I would have missed out on some really important moments with my infants and my 3 turning into 4-year-olds. So I actually think the pandemic, although hard on everybody, and I really hope doesn't change the generation of our future, of the generations to come. I hope it doesn't due to screen time. But I really respect all of you moms because this is the hardest thing anyone can ever do. Hardest. Yeah. It is the hardest thing.
That was all so great.
Thank you to Haylie, Radhika, Jen, Sarah, Nikki, Lindsay, and all of you. Join the conversation. Visit us at momstalkshop.com and follow us on Instagram at momstalkshop. Thanks so much.